We're in the magnificent new cellar at Cheval Blanc with Pierre-Olivier Clouet, who's the technical director here at Cheval Blanc. Pierre-Olivier, could you tell me in one word what the 2011 vintage means to you, please?
I think if we need to describe all the vintage in just one word, it will probably be balance.
Okay.
This is a balanced vintage,
Yeah.
so we are so happy to produce this sort of vintage in Cheval.
And is that because of this new cellar, or is that because of the growing conditions?
I think this is the style of the vintage, because the climatic conditions are just exceptional to preserve the freshness, to preserve the complexity of the fruits, to help us to have some notes of flower on the nose of Cheval Blanc and Petit Cheval. And on the palate, the wine is built on the longs, so it's very important for us. It's a classical vintage. And of course, the new winery helps us very well to produce an exceptional wine, because in this specific vintage, we can pick what we want, when we want. And it's changed everything when you have a difficult...
yeah, of course. But it was quite difficult, wasn't it? The growing season wasn't perfect by any means.
Sure, it wasn't perfect, and the most important thing was to work in the vineyard, to have a more homogeneous crops. Something is very special this vintage is that we have a flower on approximately 1 month, and you have always the same difference between two different plots. One arrive at the maturity the first day of September, and the other one at the end of September.
When was the end of harvest for you here?
We finished the 3rd of October.
And the 3rd of October, that's really quite late for the vintage, isn't it?
Yes.
And those were the Cabernet Francs that came in?
Of course, with the Cabernet Franc.
Yes.
The Cabernet Franc arrived very slowly during the picking, because we have a lot of difference between the temperature in the night, very cool, and in the day, very warm, with some very dry days. So,
because it was very dry, wasn't it?
On the gravel and in the clay, which are exceptional.
Yeah.
We can produce some very little berries on the vines, and of course the concentration is there. And because we have an half of the average rainfall that we have on a normal year, we have density, we have tannins, and we have a nice meat palate.
And the quality of the tannins this year at Cheval Blanc were exceptional. A lot of tannin, but very, very fine, very beautifully managed.
And I think it's come from the coolness of the night. It's so important for us. Pierre Lurton always talked about the cool maturation. And this is exactly that we have for this vintage, a cool maturation. So we can wait and pick slowly each plot of Cabernet Franc who come slowly during all September.
And finally, what is the blend of Cheval and Petit Cheval this year?
So this year we use a lot of Merlot and Petit Cheval, 75% Merlot and 25% Cabernet Franc, because we want to keep all the Cabernet Franc for Cheval Blanc, because this is a sign of Cheval Blanc, and we preserve 52% of Cabernet Franc for Cheval Blanc. And I think the freshness and particularly the flower note come from the Cabernet.
It's an exceptional vintage for Cabernet Franc, no doubt at all.
For a lot of wine estates to work with a big majority of Cabernet Franc, it's a good vintage.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.